Motion Effects has a wide variety of abilities, but we're going to be focusing on three main ones, which are position, opacity, and scale, which are the three we're going to talk about. So the first one we're going to talk about is opacity, which is a major one that I tend to use whenever I'm doing short animation videos like this. So the first thing you're going to want to do whenever you're setting your opacity is that you're going to want to click this little toggle button, toggle animation, and turn that on. And that'll allow you to start choosing when the opacity at certain times. So the first thing we're going to do, because I want this to fade in, I'm going to set the opacity to 0 in the very beginning, at the very beginning of the clip. Now, I already have some markers set so that I can reference where things should go. So I'm going to move it on to where my next marker is so that I can set my opacity to 100, and that'll create a fade in with my put on your words on the top of my animation. So watch, put on your fades in. So when we can do this backwards too, and I'll show you this here. So I'm going to set, I want the put on your to also fade out. So I'm going to create a keyframe, and then it's at 100% so that it stays 100% between these two keyframes here and here. And then I'm going to move it down to where I want it to fade out completely, which is here, I think, is my keyframe. Yep, so, or my marker. So I'm going to add a keyframe and set it down to 0. And the little scroll, you just hover over it and you can scroll left and right, and it'll change the number of your opacity. And so I'm going to do this on all of my words. So we're going to do this on the Sunday close. So we're going to be able to edit it, we're going to click on the Sunday close. We're going to turn on the toggle, and then we're going to set it to 0 at the beginning, and then put it to where I want it to come in fully. I'm going to put my my marker, my timeline piece, add a keyframe to 100%, and we're going to do the same thing we did on put on your at the very end. Same concept. Scroll it all the way down to 0. Add another keyframe. Wait, no, sorry. We're gonna make this one up to, this one needs to stay 100. That's my fault. And then this one all the way down to 0. Now there's another way for you to be able to change your number setting too. So you can add a keyframe. Make sure your toggle is on. I'm working on in 1 week, this little section right here. So I'm gonna add a keyframe, and I can double click and put in a number. So I'm gonna add a 0, and that'll change my opacity to 0 for that keyframe. Go to my next place, add a keyframe to 100%. Add a keyframe. And then where I want it to zoom out, and another keyframe, or fade out, 0. So let's watch that all together. All right, and so that is the first part. Now the logo also does a fade out too. So we're going to add our keyframe here. Oops, I forgot. You need to click on your logo, add a keyframe, and we want to start out with 0 so we don't see it, and so that it fades in really pretty. So we're going to add another keyframe. We can type it in, so 100. I'm going to scroll on over to where we want it to start fading out, and add another keyframe, and then all the way to the end. And we got to 0. And with that, now I understand that the dancing silhouette's still in the way, but we're going to get to that next. So with the dancing silhouette, we're going to do a position effect, which basically moves it across the screen, up and down, or pretty much in any direction you want it to go. But for this dancing silhouette, we want it to move across to make it look like they're like dancing across the screen. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to click on my dancing silhouette in my timeline. I'm going to want to turn on the toggle animation on the position. From there, I'll put my keyframe on. I'll create a keyframe. Now, I have certain numbers. So for me, I'm actually going to type this in. But you also have the ability to hold down your mouse above the number that you want to move, and it will move the animation or the item for you. So my numbers are 1344.4, and that moves it completely off the screen, which is what I want it to do. And you can make those go in any direction you want to, but for our purpose, we want it to go off the screen and come on. So then I'm going to add another keyframe, and I'm going to make it come on to my specific spot. So for mine, it's going to be 795, and it'll come on. So if we watch that together, put on your Sunday clothes, and it comes on. Now, we want it to go off too, so we're going to add another keyframe. Same concept, we're just going to change the numbers. So for it to go off, we need it to go from here all the way across the screen where my mouse is going. So my number, I can either, just scroll this all the way across, or I can type it in. So to type it in, I'm putting in my numbers, 795 for this keyframe though, because it's the start. But for my last keyframe, which is all the way over here, right here, we want this keyframe to be negative 267. Negative 267. So now when we play that, you'll see it's going to go across the screen. Now I see that it's overlapping the Hello Dolly logo, but we want it to be like that just to kind of give it a little bit of a flair. I guess it's more of an artistic kind of choice than anything else. But one of the things with the Hello Dolly logo that I really wanted was for it to zoom in, because otherwise it's just kind of sitting there and it's kind of boring to watch, because it's there for a pretty good amount of time. It's just there, it's there, and then it fades out. So we're going to do the same where it's going to zoom in to the audience, and this is called scale. Scale allows you to make an item larger or smaller within it remaining the same width without like stretching it in any direction. So I want this to zoom in. So I'm going to make this happen, I'm going to click on my items that I want to zoom in. And so I'm going to make sure I click on toggle animation and turn that on. So I've added a keyframe. So from my original scale is 164, which is what it is currently. That's 164 scale for that specific picture. But I want it to zoom in, and so I've already worked it out to where it'll zoom in and so that it doesn't go all the way off the screen. And so I need to change my number to 209. So I can either hold down my mouse and scroll it all the way to 209, but that might take some time to get it just right. So I'm just going to type it in, 209. Now we're not going to do anything with the tickets available because it is its own clip, and so I can't edit it because I had created this clip because I had made 4 other of the same concept for advertising for this show. So if we watch this all together now, and it zooms in, and then we go to our last clip. And so this will actually loop on Instagram, which is where this will be posted and why it's a square frame. And that's it. Thanks for watching.